damn. The noises that you're hearing right now is a video of hail hitting a backyard pool here.
Oh, that was the radio.
So while we were watching people in space getting fucked up, the actual world was getting fucked up. It looks like somebody's just taking a gun and
that's what I was
shooting, like it's shooting a pool. Fuck you,
Pearl Harbor.
Where is that out? What town is it?
We just got out of Life. New space movie directed by Daniel Espinosa. Don't know what else he's directed, but I like this movie, so I like him. It stars people like Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, I believe, from Mission Impossible, the newest one. About a bunch of scientists. They cultivate some life on Mars, and the life goes crazy and tries to kill all of them. I was worried because everyone's talking about this like, oh man, Alien's coming out in May, and this is just gonna be like some meh little brother to it. I found that this wasn't scary, but this was like a really fun Twilight Zone episode.
A lot of moments where you're like, oh, no, that's the end. Oh, okay, maybe not.
I was like, no. I'm pretty sure people are gonna go to Alien and actually be scared, or actually think about the repercussions, the philosophy behind this. It's a slasher movie in space, and this is its most basic form, but it's done well enough, when with enough humor, I think like a dark humor to it, that it works, and it works really well for me. But before we go any further, spoiler alert. Oh, another spoiler, Matt's back from the dead. For our final thoughts and score size 6 stars, scroll to that time code. Otherwise, let's do this shit. Is Hollywood just giving Ryan Reynolds carte blanche to be Deadpool in every movie he's in for the rest of his life?
Really upset that he wasn't in this movie for that long.
I think him and good old Jake rolled the dice before
Really?
the movie
Yeah.
was in production, and they said, well, who's gonna be the last to die? I think Ryan got the short straw of that.
Ryan Reynolds is like the Marion Crane kill from Psycho. You don't expect him to die that quick. But I found with this movie, I wasn't really sure who was gonna make it,
Right.
who wasn't, what was gonna
Even
happen.
up until the end, you weren't sure.
Ryan Reynolds is a mechanic on the ship. Jake Gyllenhaal is the guy that's been there forever, and he's like, I hate humans, fuck Earth, I'm gonna live in space forever. Rebecca Ferguson is the doctor on board. There's the Russian lady who's the commander. There's the Japanese guy who I've seen in movies, but I keep forgetting his name. And
Was
he
he in Snowpiercer?
might have been. There's the black guy you see in the trailer. He's the main doctor and kind of falls in love with this thing that they find. They're on the ISS. Mars is sending them a sample of soil, and in that they find this cell, and they're kind of like tweaking at it to kind of see if they can keep it alive, and they do, and it starts growing. The kids from Earth name it Calvin after their school name. It could have been handled a little better, the whole like, if you really found an alien and it got all the way to Mars, they would go on like late night TV and all that shit. But that one kid was like, we are one of the schools given the honor out of 11,000.
That was a cringy scene.
It was.
Kind of feel like that would be the case if something like this were to actually happen.
Yeah, you see one of us jackasses, they're like, man,
Andy Cletus!
you know that the internet, if polled, there'd be people with like, these nuts would be
These
like
nuts.
1 million votes. And
Donald Trump.
the thing starts killing people, and in really cool ways, I found. Ryan Reynolds is the first to go, and he dies. The way you see it is like the alien crawls inside of him, and then you start seeing like blood droplets come out of him, but because it's in space, they kind of like paint the scene. And I thought the red blood painted against that sort of like yellow room was actually really beautiful.
Kind of choked me up a bit when Ryan was going. I was like,
Didn't
God,
it?
man, my throat kind of hurts right now.
Literally.
I'm like,
This movie is about 90% hentai, and just like, if you're scared of tentacle rape, do not watch this movie.
when Jake re-entered the orbit, so to speak, landed in the lake, wherever he landed, dude, that thing looked like it exploded all over that place.
Throughout the movie, whenever the alien kills somebody, you see it grow a little bigger. It starts out, you know, as the tiny cell, and then it turns into kind of like a bulb, and then it turns into kind of like this like floating jellyfish thing.
It looks like the Kraken. The Kraken has many
You're right.
images back in mythology. And, you know, one being the giant octopus, one being the giant squid. Others being that a Kraken has tentacles, flaps, and a tail.
So if you go on a Google image search for Kraken and you just like and just stack them all on top of each other,
It looks like that.
it looks like that. Whenever you see that Jake Gyllenhaal is done for, I think that's when it finally got the chance to really take over and grow and be big. There are multiple twist opportunities in this movie, and I never could really kind of get a jump on where this movie was going. What happens if there's like two aliens? Jake Gyllenhaal and Rebecca Ferguson are the last two, and they have to get in separate lifeboats. Jake Gyllenhaal's plan is to bait the monster into one lifeboat, and he can fly it away into deep space, and then Rebecca Ferguson can go to Earth and live. And so there's a twist in my mind where I was like, what happens if that thing reproduced asexually and it shows up on Rebecca Ferguson's ship at Earth? My whole ending for this movie would have been just, fuck the humans, this thing is gonna live and take over the world. Like,
That would have been cool to set up for like a sequel if like the little tiny original form of the alien got onto her ship,
yeah.
and then like it starts growing on Earth, and then they have to stop this whole new monster from reproducing and growing.
It's really goofy. Like, whenever you see that squid alien thing kind of like flying around trying to get into the air vent in order to get into the ship, and it's like, oh, we gotta shut it down. It's like, ah, you're almost got it. No, we gotta shut this one too.
Like
and
slams his head into the door.
Yeah.
And he kind of like stares at them.
He stares him
He's
down.
pissed off, like,
Really?
Bitch.
You really just shut the door?
It all starts because the thing goes into a coma after like an accident exposes it to space atmosphere. So they decide to basically poke it with a taser and see if it'll wake up.
as soon as they picked that up, I was like, that's a terrible idea.
Oh, we know it's a terrible idea. But what I didn't expect was for that thing, which is basically the size of a glorified elephant cum stain, grabs him by the glove and basically just breaks his hand with how fucking strong it is.
Oh.
By the time you finally see it come out, the black guy's hand is just like...
Kind of looked like rubber, though. I wish this movie was a little more graphic. He pulled his hand out, and I expected to see, like, bones protruding and, like, the inside of his hand, but it just looked like a rubber glove.
Earth sends a space booster to connect to the space station and push the station away because...
I thought there were astronauts inside.
They had 3 lines of defense, 2 of them known to the rest of the crew, but the third one only known to the commander and privileged people. If the second defense failed, they would be either a rescue or you'd be screwed.
Maybe
And and so what they did was they attached a booster to the space station to push the space station into deep space so that alien wouldn't get to Earth and fuck shit up, because throughout the movie you realize that this alien can pretty much survive anything. That's one of the cool things I really like about this, is that it may be like an alien clone, but I did like that element of, we've got to keep this thing away from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that made for like a fun tension booster near the end. I was really hoping this movie would spend 30 minutes just as an alien monster movie. Like, what would happen is that Rebecca Ferguson flies away, or let's just spoil the ending here. Jake Gyllenhaal, turns out that he flies away, lands on Earth with the monster inside, and for the next 30 minutes, it's the monster, like, attacking whales and getting bigger and, like, taking over a city.
I was
and it
really
just...
upset about the ending in that way. I was really hoping that you would get to see those, the people who rescued his ship
Yeah.
just be, like, devoured. It just looked like somebody sneezed in his ship.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It looked like it was all...
Jake Gyllenhaal shit himself so hard.
At that point of re-entry, oxygen is very thin.
Yeah.
And I guess with the heat exposure, I guess because it wasn't in a suit, and that's why you have the suit in the first place. It's heat exposure, oxygen is thin, etc., etc. Kind of wonder if it just, with all those variables, did it just go?
Well, it seems to be able to survive a lot more.
Not all at
conditions
once,
than-
though.
I don't know astronomy. I don't know anything about being an astronaut, but I highly doubt there's such a thing as an oxygen candle. It's supposed to be kind of like a combination of a flare and like...
I mean, it makes sense.
One of those airplane like mechanisms you can just breathe oxygen from, and he uses that to bait the monster, and it makes for some really cool, you know,
really
fun. Oh my god, it's a real thing?
Yeah, it makes sense.
But like, so you break it and you can just kind of like breathe from a little
Apparently
bit?
one of them exploded in a ship once.
I was worried about that. They have these oxygen candles going around, and one of the big things in space is fire.
Right.
So how did that not blow up? But I mean, if you're questioning that in this movie, you're not here for the right reasons.
Right.
If y'all scroll to the time code, welcome back. We are gonna go into our non-spoilers section. Thoughts and final scores on Life.
good old Jake. He did it's like he made the movie, in my opinion. No matter what, space is gonna kill you. Doesn't matter how, but it will. I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of, just go see the damn movie.
So you recommend it at the very least?
I recommend it. I'll give it a 4.5.
Alright.
I think there's a lesson to be learned in this movie, and that lesson is, don't go fucking with shit you shouldn't be fucking with.
Whether it be aliens or
Like, yeah.
Tinder hoes.
Don't always grab life by the balls. You might piss it off.
There's a part of the movie where it's attacking Ryan Reynolds, and I'm so tempted to yell, "Punch it in the dick!" Where is it?
It's a good question.
Did they electrocute it in the balls?
Maybe
Is
that's
that
why
why they
you're
got
so
some?
pissed off. We heard his
Maybe.
manhood.
Ew.
My favorite thing about this was the cast, for sure. I think they had a very good combination of people playing in this movie, and it worked really well. I think I'm gonna go with a 4.5 also.
Alright, Pacific Rim Mind Meld. I'm also going 4.5.
Okay.
This movie is a great Twilight Zone-esque light watch. Not a lot of deep philosophical thought, but that doesn't mean it's made poorly. Daniel Espinosa did a fantastic job with this film. I love the score. I love the cinematography. I had a lot of fun with how this movie was going. And of course, the ending is just some fun, wicked glee. I might be giving away too much just by saying that. Liam, unfortunately, like the little bitch he is, went for a 4. He said the dialogue's not that great, and it's not. The characters are not written to be, you know, Ripley. They're written to be just fodder for death. If you're looking for like a cool sci-fi movie to wet your tongue before Alien Covenant, this is definitely a good watch for you. And if y'all like this shit, click the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't, so you can see new video and content when it comes up. We've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for social media. Liam's blog, where he's probably going to go into more detail about his opinions, is liammgahan.wordpress.com. Our friend Noah is the Cinema Geek on Instagram as well. Next week, we've got Ghost in the Shell. You know what the most impressive thing about the Ghost in the Shell trailer to me was? That before the trailer actually popped out, she's like, "Hi folks, Scarlett here." Not Scarlett Johansson.
Why?
She's like Madonna. First name basis, man. She's like Tiger.
Why is it that in all of those little intros that celebrities do before they introduce their trailer, it's so cringy? It's like they've never acted a day in their life.
Because you know they don't really want to do that shit.
It's not selling anything.
It's cringy as fuck, and they do it just because the exhibitors are like, let's do this. We want to promote our content and contracts. That's why you have on the trailer itself, like, see this in Cinemark XD. Like, fuck off. Anyway, thank you all very, very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Good night.